All right, let's get into it, man. I suggest breaking out the pad and pen for this one. Because the world right now is brimming with conformity. And your true power lies in carving your own path. But you gotta tap into your creativity in order to do that. So let's set it free. Now think about it. For years, the monotony of jobs where you're doing the same thing over and over again like a robot, and then you have your alarm clock just literally interrupting your dreams 7 days a week, and your bosses are dictating every move, making sure you stay in place like a cog in a machine. You like that? You know in your heart that you don't want to be distracted from your purpose 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, right? You know what the spark is that defines your passions. Let's get into it. We're done with that repetitive routine. That repetitive routine lacks any creative outlet. We're not going to settle for that lackluster landscape of deadlines and directives that does nothing but slow down the creative process, slows down your creative spirit. We're not going to be overshadowed by the mundane tasks defined by that corporate world. Get out of here. Because that kind of struggle is only going to manifest stagnation. It's not going to manifest your dreams, that's for sure. That's not for creators. So look, every time you manage to escape the prison yard of conventional work, right? That prison cell, and then you work on projects that allow for your creative expression to flow, you feel that shift happen, and it's profound, right? So let's get into some of the ways that we can cultivate more creativity in the time that we have that is limited. Now, the first thing that you want to keep in mind when it comes to creativity is you want to express yourself freely. You want to be free. Getting rid of self-judgment is going to be that catalyst when it comes to unlocking your creativity. When people create without the burden of self-criticism, that's when they step into the realms of imagination. The creative process can only thrive in environments where the artist feels liberated from the constraints of judgment. So embrace the non-critical mindset, as it's going to allow your ideas to flow organically. And this is what fosters brilliant thoughts and expressions. When there's no self-judgment, you can take more risks and experiment with these novel concepts. When you're fearless in your exploration, that's going to lead to unexpected and innovative outcomes. Now, it's crucial to understand, creativity is a dynamic journey. Not every step needs to be perfect. So liberating yourself from the fear of criticism shows authenticity, enabling the true essence of your ideas to shine through. Now, you're going to need that self-esteem, because that's what's going to foster your resilience. Creativity involves trial and error. You gotta fall down, you gotta scrape your knees, you gotta get your hands dirty. So you pivot, you make mistakes, you pivot. You constantly improve, 1% better every time. And learning from the mistakes is part of the process. Don't shackle yourself to criticism. You can navigate challenges with a growth mindset. Just embrace the lessons learned in each creative endeavor. This is the gateway to a more fulfilling creative experience. This is what's going to enable you to tap into all corners of your imagination. You want to break down those perceived limitations and give rise to a unique creative voice, a voice that you're going to build over time. All right, so what I want to do right now is label some of the main challenges. So if they do creep into your mind, you can quickly identify those and snuff them right out of there. Number 1 is the fear of judgment. The fear of being judged or criticized is going to hinder your potential. Who's judging you anyway? Somebody that breathes the same air as you? Concerns about how others are going to perceive your thoughts or creations is going to lead to self-censorship. And there is nothing artistic about that cookie-cutter BS. Censoring your authenticity stops exactly what it takes to break through. If somebody doesn't like it, it wasn't meant for them. Everything isn't for everybody. Number 2, self-doubt. If you're grappling with self-doubt and questioning the validity or worth of your expressions, you're going to drain your creative energy. The inner critique is basically pissing all over your flow of ideas and creativity. Stop it. There comes a time for the inner critic, and it's not with creativity. Number 3, social and cultural pressures. Societal norms and cultural expectations impose their constraints and limitations on you. That shit is poison. If you fear deviating from the so-called accepted standards and limit the exploration of unconventional and controversial ideas, that's a trap. When you feel the need to fit in, just remember you just killed your creativity. Number 4 is vulnerability. Fall in love with vulnerability. Expressing freely requires you to be vulnerable, which some may find uncomfortable. But opening up emotionally or sharing personal experiences can be challenging, especially in the suit and tie, cleaner than a bar of soap environment. If you're not willing to be vulnerable, you'll be stuck in mediocrity. Number 5, lack of confidence. Now, the last 4 things I just mentioned affect you mostly when you lack confidence. Although a lack of confidence in your creative abilities stifles self-expression, never underestimate your true power and potential when it comes to what you're creating. Feeling inadequate or comparing yourself to others is going to create a huge barrier when it comes to sharing your own thoughts and creations. Number 6, overthinking. Everything I just mentioned so far leads to overanalyzing and overthinking. When you're in this state of mind, you're not free to express your full potential. A cluttered mind struggles to explore profound ideas. You can argue that this is the reason why people get writer's block. Number 7, and lastly, external constraints, like time limitations. If you're rushing against the clock, you can't be focused on your creativity. And then there's resource availability, when you need but don't have certain tools or equipment for the projects that you're working on. Or there's obligations such as young children, day jobs, and other responsibilities that can restrict engagement in deep creative work. Now, even though external constraints are sometimes inevitable, they can be minimized by managing what you can through delegation and time blocking. And I want to quote Tim Ferriss. He said, "If we're talking about just distractions, we're talking about prioritization. If you feel like you don't have time, you don't have priorities. Everyone has the same amount of time." In other words, have strict standards on the time you plan to dedicate to your craft. We want to make it a priority to address these challenges. So to reiterate, we want to build a supportive environment, cultivate self-confidence, promote a culture that values diverse perspectives, encourage open dialogue and constructive feedback, and embrace vulnerability. This is going to be the first step in obliterating the obstacles to the deep creative work needed to create your reality. I don't want people to turn into mindless drones more than they already are. We're born to be creative, so confronting these challenges are a must for growing into the person that we're meant to be. What happened to those dreams and aspirations that you had as a kid? Why is it instead of feeding our children's creativity, society wants to starve it out? I want to quote Jim Rohn. He says, "Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune." And I'd like to add to that. Oftentimes that fortune is more than just financial. The act of creative work involves a cognitive and emotional synergy. This process not only contributes to the creative development, but it's the foundation of your personal development as well. Here are some perspectives and actions. Number 1, psychological liberation. Expressing yourself freely involves breaking psychological barriers. These barriers are illusions and constraints that have been built up over the years. So analyzing these barriers, whether they stem from self-doubt, societal expectations, or past experience, is going to provide insight into personal blockages that hinder creative potential. One thing that you can do is create a sanctuary. Establish an environment where you feel safe to express yourself without the fear of judgment. Now, this could be a physical protected zone or a secure mental state where you feel free or undeterred from external scrutiny. We'll get more into that later on the next video. But number 2, cognitive flexibility. Free expression requires cognitive flexibility, which is the ability to explore different ideas and perspectives. You got to analyze the mind and how it adapts to various thoughts and concepts, because that's going to shed light on your cognitive agility and potential for creativity. I think it's great to be nomadic as a creative and living in other places for periods of time and getting to know other people and other cultures is going to broaden your perspective. The more confined you are geographically, the smaller the box you're thinking in. There's a whole planet Earth available to us. Let's go explore that. Also, diversify your creative outlets. Try various forms of expression, such as writing, drawing, singing, or any other medium that resonates with you. If you're a writer, try singing. If you're a singer, try writing. Expand your creative capacity to stimulate new thought processes and ideas. Experimenting with different outlets can reveal new facets of your unique creativity. Another thing that you can do is journaling. Start a journal and jot down your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas. This private space is going to allow you to express freely without any concern about how it might be perceived by others. One thing I love to do is record my dreams. Recording your dreams as soon as you wake up when you're still half asleep. But you have to do this as soon as you wake up, because when we wake up, our brains rapidly switch out of REM state to where we're going to forget more than 50% of what we were dreaming about. It's very important that we record our dreams before we transition into that wakeful state. Doing this will reveal insights from deep inside of your subconscious mind. Number 3 is mindfulness practices. Engaging in mindfulness techniques like meditation and deep breathing exercises. Now, I find yoga to be perfect for this. What you want to do is quiet your mind and create that mental space for authentic expression. In this fast-paced, hyper-stimulated world, we need to take time to witness our own thoughts and truly develop the ability to listen to ourselves for the answers. This builds emotional intelligence. Understanding and analyzing one's emotions is crucial for free expression. Emotional intelligence plays a role in articulating feelings, translating them into creative outputs. What we ultimately want to do is manage potential emotional challenges associated with the ability to be vulnerable. Number 4 is risk-taking and innovation. They go hand in hand. Expressing freely involves an element of risk-taking. Analyzing the relationship between risk tolerance and innovation will give you insights into how you personally deal with uncertainty in your pursuits. Find a good enough reason why you will embrace vulnerability. That reason will carry you through. Recognize, first of all, that vulnerability is a strength, and expressing yourself authentically may require openness and vulnerability, but it often leads to a deeper connection and more meaningful creations. Number 5, evolution of your creative voice. Tracking the evolution of your creative progress in retrospect allows you to benefit from the winner effect. Recognize the influences, inspirations, and milestones in your evolution. Sometimes you have to remind yourself of who you are. This is going to provide informational energy towards your development. Number 6, surround yourself with the aspirational. Seek thriving communities, teams, or individuals who encourage and push your creative expressiveness. Positive, constructive feedback will boost your confidence and nurture a more open and free creative spirit. Good chemistry fuels creative energy. Having a hunger for constructive criticism while setting aside judgment is how true professionals operate. Release the need for immediate perfection. Understand that the creative process involves exploration and experimentation. And not every expression needs to be flawless. Instead, focus on improvement and getting 1% better every time. In closing, I just want to say, embrace all your quirks and what makes you you without inhibition. Bless us with your genuine essence. Let it be a beacon that guides you towards personal growth and fulfillment. You're not only communicating with the world, but you're connecting to the deepest layers of your own identity. You'll inspire others with your authenticity, and it will be a source of encouragement for those around you. Encourage others to embrace their individuality and tap into their creative potential. Enrich the world with creativity, empathy, and understanding by being your unfiltered self. Have a positive impact on the broader community while you become the most genuine, empowered version of yourself. Let it radiate as far as your imagination can take it.